welcome tonight. Thanks for coming. Ms. Hummel, invocation?
Okay, everybody stay seated. I'm thrilled to be on the rotation to give the invocation for this meeting because it happens to be Joe Bruni's last meeting of the school board. I know, right? Nobody cry because I didn't bring tissues. So as part of my invocation, what I would like to do is take this opportunity to go around the room and ask the board members and any of the administration, if they'd like to say a few words on the record about Joe. Let's not go on and on and on. That's why we asked you to write it down. Because we'll have plenty of time between now and, of course, Friday. There's a big party for him. If you need information about tickets, see Janet, and we can tell him that we love him the rest of the time. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Burrell, and then I'm going to end with me.
No, I don't want to say, nothing on the record, no.
Okay. Ms. Richardson?
I came across a little phrase that if we celebrate the years behind us, they become stepping stones of strength and joy for the years ahead. So Dr. Bruni, thank you for your half a century plus 2 years in the education field. It just goes to show you were dedicated to your job. Well, thank you for your tenure. Enjoy your retirement, and peace and joy go with you.
Thank you.
It's my first year being on the school board, and I want to thank you for stepping up, coming in. And you and I know you for a lot of years. And our great friend to be sitting there and be telling you reality, be saying a few words. But I wish you best in your endeavors. And when you see my Uncle Nina and Tenori, let them down, and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm the new guy. I know you were friends with my sister. Well, all of my family worked with the school district at one time or another. And I know she had a lot to say about you and was excited that I could spend a little time with you. So any friend of my sister is a friend of mine. So thank you for what you've done with the school.
Do you want to say anything?
Oh, sure. Joe, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I met you before. When you came back, it was even, everything they said about you was true. You're a gentleman, scholar, and I want to thank you for being who you are, for supporting me, and I'll say this, if anyone is a champion for the William Penn School District and a champion for our kids, it's this man sitting next to me.
All right. I have a few extra words.
That's long.
So Mary and I came on at the same time, and we had just joined the school board, and we were doing superintendent interviews. I didn't know Joe from his first tour of duty here, but I can tell when he walked in for the interview, he knew the lay of the land. But truthfully, I think I noticed how well dressed he was and his fancy shoes first, because he had fantastic shoes on. From that moment on, after I got over his fancy shoes, it was abundantly clear that Joe knew the William Penn School District very well. It was also really clear that he believed in us. He knew our students, our communities, and just how well I wouldn't know until months later. So a couple months later, after we all get confirmed, Joe and I go to Penwood Middle School. I remember the day like it was yesterday. Joe and I are standing near the back door, then all of a sudden this crowd comes, and it grows and it grows. They all knew Joe. Joe's in the middle, and they are circled, 12 rows around him. He knew them all. It was ages 8 to little babies. Some he was about to be the superintendent of their great-grandchildren, and he knew everyone's name. He had them as their principal. Now 3 generations later, he was about to be their superintendent. It was an amazing sight, one I'll remember forever, and he held every single baby in the crib. Flash forward to 8 years, wow, it went fast. What a ride it's been. Joe is one of the hardest workers I've ever met. He's also a fan of all things Penwood. Whether it's cheering on our students and families, screaming at bad basketball or football refs from the bench, helping numerous children attend the prom, buy clothes or food, or just be the important guy that listens to them. Joe has been a steadfast supporter. Not only has Joe emotionally supported our district, but he has been supportive with his time or money or both to numerous groups and functions in all of our communities. There will never be another superintendent like Joe Bruni. You have left us in awesome shape to succeed even further than our recent academic awards. While I'm sad to see you go, I know you won't be going far from our hearts, and since I've extracted every piece of your contact information, you will never escape. I just want to say thank you for all you've been to me, my family, my 3 kids, and to the other 5,000 plus families and kids. Your belief in us has been unwavering, your support undeniable. I am so happy you have plenty of time to enjoy your retirement, as after 52 years in education, you've earned every second. Don't go too far. Keep sending us articles on education and politics. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Joe, I have considered you a comrade in arms in our collective fight for justice. And on top of running a school, you have been tireless and fearless in your efforts in that regard. It has been a privilege to fight with you.
Joe, you know, there are a few real life heroes, and I gotta admit, for me, my family, you are a real life hero. You know, my travels throughout the state, you know, when I say I'm from the William Penn School District, everybody says, "How's Joe?" Not how I'm doing, not anybody else. How's Joe? And serving with you has been an absolute honor. And serving, just like David said, fight for justice and public education. You've encouraged me to build up my fight, and I'll carry that fight forward. Thanks for everything.
Thank you. This is going to be hard for me. I was given strict rules that I could not speak for an hour and a half.
I did that.
And how can you, let's talk about Mr. Bruni in a few short minutes. So I made an attempt to do that. Congratulations, Mr. Bruni, on your retirement after 8 years of service as a superintendent to the William Penn School District. We will always remember you that you have consistently demonstrated love, compassion, and high expectation for all our students, parents, and staff. Your partnership with the William Penn School Board has enabled us to allow each student to develop to their fullest potential to succeed in life. Always remember that education is our passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to the people prepared for it today. Good luck and many blessings. And what I would like to add, you had also, and I didn't want to get emotional, very supportive of our family. Thank you.
Dr. Bruni, you fought the good fight, you fought the right fight, and you fought it with passion. And coming from just being on the board and also being a Penwood alumni, I appreciate everything that you do. One thing our kids sticks out the most to our kids is that somebody cares, and you've shown that. None of our kids can come through this high school and say that you don't care, or any other school say you don't care. And I appreciate you showing that, and you've passed the baton to great people, and we will continue to carry it. Congratulations.
So it's kind of special when a bunch of teenagers who always have their faces in their phones know who Mr. Bruni is. Because I was surprised. I didn't know how they knew, but they do. So I guess I want to say thank you on behalf of the students, because it's something different if the students can recognize who you are and what you do. So thank you.
I can't write and speak at the same time. She'll tell you later, Joe. Okay, so what I've noticed, I just wrote down a few ramblings, but they are short and on one piece of paper, and it's a recycled card, Joe, so you do know that I'm being frugal. On the front it says, "Those who give of their time are truly generous." And if there's one thing that we show about ourselves, where we spend our treasure. Wherever you put your treasure is what you believe in and what you love. And for Joe, that treasure has been time. I mean, you've paid for prom tickets, I know that. But you have given more time to this district than anybody else I've known give time to a job, ever, ever. So I want to say this to you. So you've given us your time and your love and your attention and your time and your support and adventure and trust and hope and frustration and time and patience and urgency and advocacy and subversiveness, which equals troublemaking, and your time, your encouragement, your generosity, your optimism, and your realism. Thank you for being that person who took the time to inspire our trust and confidence. So, in turn, by the end of the day, by the end of this time, you could inspire us to have trust and confidence in ourselves. I know our parts didn't always mesh with the communities and people and different political opinions. We weren't smooth all the time, but I can promise that you have set, what you have set is a direction, one that's positive, always positive, and moving forward. Thank you for being a warrior for our children and education. Thank you for your time, your trust, and your wisdom.
I just want to say that I thank the tributes and the recognitions, but I want you all to know that it's truly been my privilege to return to William Penn and complete a cycle that I started back in 1971 in Darby. I will be forever grateful to the residents in Darby for hiring me as the principal of Ridge Avenue School. It's propelled me to here, and I think you all know this, but I'm going to say it publicly. Nothing more important than our students. And I appreciate all of you who support them, and I hope that you continue to. Thank you.
Joe will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Koff, roll call, please.
Okay. Ms. Boykins?
Present.
Ms. Fitty? Ms. Hummel?
Here.
Mr. Burrell?
Present.
Mr. Hobbs?
Present.
Ms. Richardson?
Present.
Mr. Wright?
Here.
Mr. Cave?
I'm here.
Ms. Hoff?
Present.
Ms. Makova?
Here.
And Ms. Williams is absent. We have complete house, all 9 board members and 1 representative.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Cuff. Thank you, fellow board members. I will not have any comments or announcements today. I used up all my time. But Joe, I'll miss you next time.
Thank you.
I can always count on you to be calm.
Yes, I try to be. Just a few announcements. And I again thank all the members of the community for being here. It's really important that you attend meetings and know what's going on in your school district, and to come with whatever concerns you have and bring them forward. It's greatly appreciated. I have 2 resolutions this evening for 2 of our staff members who have passed away. The first resolution is of respect and memory for Donna Claudio Russell. Whereas the William Penn School District Board of School Directors desires to record in the minutes of its regular meeting a resolution of respect and memory of Donna Claudio Russell, School Security Officer for the William Penn School District, and whereas Mrs. Russell was taken from our midst on December 9th, 2015, and the members of the Board of School Directors, administration, and staff wish to express their sympathy to the bereaved family. And whereas Mrs. Russell was a dedicated and loyal school safety officer who served our students and staff since February 2013 at various schools throughout the William Penn School District. And whereas Mrs. Russell also served as parent community liaison under the Safe Schools Healthy Students Grant from October 2007 through June 2010, and also previously worked as a secretarial substitute in the William Penn School District. Therefore, be it resolved that the William Penn School District Board of School Directors, Superintendent, faculty, staff, students, and parents acknowledge their appreciation of Mrs. Donna M. Claudio Russell by sending a copy of this resolution to her family and entering a copy of this resolution into the minutes of the February 2016 business meeting of the Board of School Directors. Our next resolution of respect and memory is for Hope D. Fleming Mallory. Whereas the William Penn School District Board of School Directors desires to record in the minutes of its regular meeting a resolution of respect and memory of Hope D. Fleming Mallory, special education teacher in the William Penn School District. And whereas Mrs. Fleming Mallory was taken from our midst on January 26, 2016, and the members of the Board of School Directors, administration, and staff wish to express their sympathy to the bereaved family. And whereas Mrs. Fleming Mallory was a dedicated and loyal teacher who served our students since November 2006 in a variety of positions, most recently as elementary gifted support program teacher. And whereas Mrs. Fleming Mallory also worked as facilitator in the special education summer program, tutor in the Safe Schools Healthy Students Grant, after school program, teacher in the extended school year program, special education liaison, and head teacher. Therefore, be it resolved that the William Penn School District Board of School Directors, Superintendent, faculty, staff, students, and parents acknowledge their appreciation of Mrs. Hope D. Fleming Mallory by sending a copy of this resolution to her family and entering a copy of this resolution into the minutes of the February 2016 business meeting of the Board of School Directors. Thank you, and again, thank you all for your support. I'm deeply indebted. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Motion to approve the agenda? Moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes from our last business meeting of January 28th?
Move.
Second.
Any comments?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
On page 19, I'd like for dual admission change to, dual enrollment change to dual admission from Delaware County Community College students who Cheney University.
Okay, you got it.
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
The only thing I can't approve it because I had to leave an emergency, so I wasn't here for the whole meeting, so I am out.
Okay. All those in favor? God bless you. Anyone against? Great. Remarks by student representatives, Ms. Mukoba?
So there was this College Possible program that came to our school last week, and it's basically a program where they help you get ready for college, how to apply for it, how to cope in college, and I guess students who are applying for it are very excited about it. So yeah. There's also the CHOP program that I went to today. It was very interesting. That was a great program. They taught us how to filter some pictures and how to make basic coding. It wasn't a situation where they just told you what to do. It was actually, they helped us understand and how to take it step by step, which was kind of hard because it's not easy ABCD type of situation. It was a lot of remembering of how to list, how to loop, how to remember how to color the pixels. It was kind of difficult, but it was fun. Also, the Science Olympiad is coming up next week, and students are also very excited about that. Oh, and mock trial team is still moving forward. And
Tell us how you did this weekend, right?
we won against Archbishop and Carolyn.
Any rock stars, any best witnesses?
So our best witness was I can't remember his full name. Adon.
Okay.
I know that's his first name. And then Charlene Cannon as best attorney. And then we have our next trial, I think, maybe in 2 weeks or a week. So yeah, it's like the make it or break it time.
Great. And Ms. McCullough, will you be doing Thursday?
Oh, that is also our district debate day. So I'm also ready for that too.
All right. And you got a Best Witness Award, did you not?
That was for I wasn't a witness on this trial. I wasn't being tried.
Were you previously?
The previous one.
Yep. You're fabulous. Thank you. You're doing great. Anything else?
No, that's it.
I wanted to shout out to Children's Hospital. They came with Raspberry Pis. It's not a pie, it's a computer device. And had around 15 of our students learning how to code this afternoon. It was pretty fabulous. And I handed out my cards, and we will be doing future programs with them. I want to thank Ms. Tischler for organizing it and having nice friends at Children's Hospital, and they will be doing more with us in the very near future. They came back last year. They've been here 3 years now. So thank you. All right, special award time. Don't get to do this every day. There you go. All right, who goes first? Representatives? Oh, you're here. Come on.
Nice.
Joe, go around front, please. Oops. Thank you, Mr. Cave. I like your brother. Go figure out why. They don't know you. No mics.
One of my students, do you believe that?
Oh, your students.
Representative Joanna McClinton, you want to join us? Absolutely. Okay. For anyone that doesn't know, this is State Representative Joanna McClinton. She is a superstar in Harrisburg. She's filling the big shoes of Ron Waters, and she's doing a heck of a job. I'm very excited about our future with Joanna McClinton, but today is a very special night for many reasons. It's not many times that, as my brother Rafiq, I'm sorry, you messed me up, man. My name is Don Cave, and I'm a representative of State Senator Anthony Hardy Williams, who is in the 8th Senatorial District, and this happens to be one of our schools in our districts, but even more so, it's something personal for me. 3rd grade, well, it takes us back to maybe 89, 27 years, just put it that way. I had the honor and privilege of being one of Mr. Bruni's students. And I will never call you Joe. I don't have the heart, you know what I mean? Certain people, you know what I mean? Scare your grandma's gonna come out and pop you. So it's like Jesus, JFK, and Joe Bruni, right? So we will have a calendar out for you. All right, but all honesty, there's certain people that you know have your back. At a very early age, it was clear to me that this man who was a giant to me then and still is, just makes you feel at home. Amen. So you can excel. That's something that's lost sometimes.
Yes.
Okay. I love you.
I love you too.
And I wore all black today for a reason. I'm mourning. Besides being you are the sharpest superintendent in Pennsylvania, and I will say that. Very keen observation. Just another thing. You'll probably find not another white man who has about 5,000 to 10,000 black kids and children ready to jump on you. All right, here we go. I'm about to get in trouble. Is that rolling? I'm sorry, Joe. Here we go. Okay. Whereas the Senate of Pennsylvania takes great pleasure in recognizing those citizens who, through dedication and excellence, contribute in a meaningful way to the well-being of their communities and ultimately to all the people of this great Commonwealth. Whereas Joseph J. Bruni is being honored upon his February 28, 2016 retirement as superintendent after nearly 30 years of dedicated service to the William Penn School District. And whereas Mr. Bruni began his tenure with the William Penn School District in 1971, serving as principal of the Bell Avenue School, Park Lane, Ridge Avenue, East Lansdowne Elementary School, before being appointed as superintendent in 2008. He previously served as principal of the Colonial School District in Delaware. During his career, Mr. Bruni also strove to adhere to the highest standards of service and has earned the respect and admiration of his many peers, friends, and colleagues. Now, therefore, the Senate of Pennsylvania, the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania extends heartfelt congratulations to Joseph J. Bruni upon his occasion of his well-deserved retirement, expresses appreciation for the exemplary dedication to the duty in which is demonstrated, extends best wishes for a most and happy, rewarding future, and directs that a copy of this document, sponsored by State Senator Anthony Hardy Williams, be transmitted to Joseph J. Bruni. Congratulations, sir.
There it is.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Congratulations. I let Don go first because I know, he was going to bring it home.
This is family. So.
It is family, but he's your son. My brother. So I already knew, but as the newly elected rep out in this area, I just know in my very brief time of serving, you have set quite a tremendous example for public service. And I cannot imagine the level of commitment and dedication it takes to stay here for decades. Not 5 years, not 10 years, not 20 years, but so many decades that you have served and served very, very well. So I salute you. And I also have something, but this one is from the House of Representatives. It says, whereas the House of Representatives of Pennsylvania is always proud to acknowledge those individuals who, through professional excellence, contribute in a meaningful way to the betterment of their communities and ultimately to all citizens of this Commonwealth. And whereas Joseph J. Bruni is being honored upon his February 28, 2016 retirement as superintendent after 30 years of dedicated service with the William Penn School District, and whereas Mr. Bruni began his career with the William Penn School District in 1971, he served as principal at various schools throughout the district and at the Colonial District in Delaware prior to being appointed superintendent of schools of the William Penn School District in 2008. Mr. Bruni has proven skills in educational administration, curriculum and instruction, and he has more than 52 years of organizational and instructional experience. He's passionate about preparing students for success, and he is very committed to public education. Throughout his career, he's demonstrated remarkable knowledge, ability, and integrity in carrying out his many responsibilities, thus earning the respect and gratitude of all those who receive the benefit of his tireless devotion to duty. Now, therefore, the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates Joseph J. Bruni upon his richly deserved retirement, heartily commends his exemplary record of service in keeping with the highest ideals and traditions of this Commonwealth, offers best wishes for every future success. I think there's a book or two for him to write. Future success and much happiness, and directs that the copy of this citation, sponsored by the Honorable Joanna McClinton on February 9th, be transmitted to you, Superintendent.
Congratulations. Thank you, Ms. McClinton.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, one more. One more. Oh, okay. Oh, surprise.
Let me say first, before I start, let me say this about Dr. Bruni. We didn't always agree. Politics, we don't always agree, but let me say this, that I'm here tonight to honor a great man, and this man, I've observed him over the years. He's dependable, he's consistent, and I've seen his love for these young people in the school district. As a matter of fact, you know, sometimes you follow somebody from afar and you kind of watch them, and I've been to many, not just school board meetings, but other after-action meetings where I've heard him talk about the school system, I've heard him talk about the challenges, and I don't think I've learned more than anybody about the school system and the challenges as I have from Dr. Bruni. So I've watched him from afar. I've said, man, this guy's sharp. You know, it's really, you know, and when we, I've worked closely with the governor's office and trying to get his budget passed, and when, almost got the governor here, but he sent his top aide, John Hanger, who recently retired. I don't know what happened there, but he sent his top aide, and on that day in September, we had a drought, it wasn't raining, and it was a torrential downpour. And Dr. Bruni helped me to get over 100 people out. The governor's office was extremely impressed. And they called me up and they said, you know, Mayor, you know, we do this all over the state. We go to a lot of school districts. Everybody says they'll get over 100 people there, and if we get 30 or 40, that's a lot. But you guys turned out in the William Penn School District, over 100 people in the middle of a torrential downpour. We were impressed. And I have to thank Dr. Bruni for his passion. Obviously, he's a great leader because his administration followed him. So I'm here to give tribute to a great man. And I want to thank you for your heart. And we do agree in many things. We have common ground that our school district is underfunded and has been neglected. And I'm going to work as hard as I can as the mayor of Yaden and with my political connections to get the bacon back to the school district. You've done a great job under very difficult circumstances.
Common ground, Mayor, is our kids.
Yeah, it's our kids, that's right.
We are.
So I want to read this, representing Yaden Borough. It's a seal, something I developed when I became mayor. It's a seal of the Borough of Yaden. It has a color picture of Borough Hall, and this is a citation from the Office of the Mayor, Yaden Borough, citation for academic leadership, Dr. Joseph J. Bruni. Whereas Dr. Joseph Bruni has served the William Penn School District for almost 30 years as an educator and administrator, serving the last 8 years as superintendent, whereas Dr. Bruni provided stellar leadership and direction for the William Penn School District during his tenure, and whereas William Penn, though underfunded and unfairly burdened by an archaic tax structure that greatly impinged upon and worked against the William Penn community of boroughs, be it resolved that Dr. Bruni, despite being outmanned, outgunned, and underfunded by more prosperous districts and more prominent zip codes, worked feverishly to provide the very best for his administration and students, and has done a stellar job notwithstanding the political obstacles. Consequently, our community of students who have gone through the doors of William Penn during his tenure, as well as our elected officials of Yaden, will be forever grateful. Be it therefore resolved that as the mayor of Yaden, and in appreciation to Dr. Bruni's stellar and exemplary service, exemplary came up in all three, I noticed that. The last official day of February 29th, I know they said 28th, but that's a Sunday and this is a leap year. There's one more day. One more day. The last official day of February 29th will be declared Joseph J. Bruni Day in Yaden Borough, as we duly honor his service upon his well-deserved retirement. Rowan K. Hopkins, Mayor, the Borough of Yaden. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right, come on around, one more.
Do it next year. Wait till next year.
I knew it was someone. Get a little bit of the skinny guy. Over to Miss Hummel. Over to Miss Hummel. Yep, there you go. All right, excuse me.
After we voted the first time not to accept Mr. Bruni's resignation, and he sat there for a few minutes saying, oh my gosh, no. And then we accepted his retirement by a unanimous vote. It occurred to me that we're going to miss Joe a lot, and one way to remember him is to dedicate something to him. Now, as you know, those of you familiar with the district, there's only one school in our district that has a name on it, and that's the William B. Evans building. The rest is Ardmore Avenue, or Walnut, or Park Lane, named after the location. And who here knows who William B. Evans was? Okay.
I went to school there.
He was a dedicated community member in the borough of Yeadon. He was a pastor. He did outreach into the community. And when that building was built, it was dedicated in his name to remember him and to encourage the students who went there in the district to carry on. Now, Mr. Bruni's taught in, 5 elementary schools in our district? And we didn't want to get down the path of starting to name our elementary schools, so don't get that idea. No, boy, we've been there before. But there is a place where you could always go, and if he wasn't there, you knew where he was because of Mary Ellen O'Neill and because of Janet Scheiko. You could always track Mr. Bruni and then Pam Bookman. So what we're doing here tonight, and this will go up later on, but I want to, the last board agreed to this and the new board members did as well. We're going to rededicate this building where you could find him all the time as a building in honor of of this building. After his party on Friday, we're going to show it to people there. It says the William Penn School District Board of School Directors rededicates this building in honor of Joseph J. Bruni, Superintendent of Schools, March 6, 2008 to February 29, 2016, for his lifelong commitment to public education, his service in the William Penn School District, and his deep and abiding love and respect for all children. Rededicated on February 29, 2016. All right. Oh, he thinks it's the same time. He can't lift it. There he is.
All right.
All right. You always have a place to come home to. It's my building, damn it.
The Bruni Edmund.
Okay.
Lost for words.
You got the sinker.
So wait, it's called the Bruni building?
All right.
The Bruni Edmund.
Oh, we can all go home. All right. Public comments regarding agenda items, and that is the entire agenda, including the Super Kids, Super Schools, Charter School application. Just one?
Yeah.
Two?
Was C3 removed?
Yeah.
So C3 wasn't removed, so the effective date allowing a person to retire who was effectively dismissed from the district and removed from the board agenda when it happened is now being allowed to retire. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, it is.
I will go one step further, which is that a letter of retirement was submitted, and this is the first agenda after that letter of retirement was submitted.
The first agenda, after that person was told they no longer had a position, and the staff was notified that she no longer had a position in this school district, was in January. It was put on the board agenda and removed
from the board agenda at your direction. I did my research. I did my research. And it is not fair to all these people sitting here, to any taxpayer, to anyone in this school district to allow what happened and allow this to happen. It is completely illegal. I don't want to hear about investigations. I don't want to. You had enough to dismiss. That's all it took. That's all you had to do. And if you did that when you were supposed to, then you can say, in a timely manner, we have to go into executive session. That's not what you did. That's not what this board did. Director of Human Resources, it was on the agenda. It was on the agenda by the administrative assistant who this school district pays, who are employees. And when you talk about the children, and I'm really sorry, Joe, that I have to bring this up on your wonderful night. I apologize. And I told you earlier, this makes me sick to my stomach. I have to bring this up. But it can't go on. It just cannot go on because there's a lot of other stuff involved here. And nobody should be allowed to retire when what happened, happened. And I don't want to hear that there's no proof, because there is, and you know there is. I don't want to hear it. It's out there in the district. Every employee knows about it. You know what you did to employee morale? When you chose to take it off the agenda. It's illegal. It's wrong. And it's certainly not due diligence on the part of this board, on the part of the board members that decided to take it off there, after that person was given lots of special treatment. So I really think you really need to rethink this and do what is legally proper. I'm sorry, Joe. I really am.
Thank you.
I'm very, very sorry. But we already have one incident with the tax collector. You know, I got looked at with that. One of the rumors out there now is my tax money's missing. Come on. Do the right thing. Do the right thing.
Thank you, Mrs. Applegate. Anyone else? Brock, did you have your input? Name, community.
Clifford Brock Gaten, under Property Committee. Just moving forward, I noticed that there are always, not always, several times there are different contracts concerning revitalization, rebuilding or fixing up a property of the school district. In the past, we tried to implement a affirmative action program as far as minority participation with construction work. Moving forward, I would like to see that program put into place, and not just me as a person, but one of our activist groups in Yaden, the Yaden NAACP. We would like to, we're trying to get back, we are back together, and we're trying to get proactive with the Wilmington School District so that we can ensure minority participation in future contracts. And one of the big problems, well, make it brief, contracts that are large, contractors that are small. That's where the ball gets dropped. So moving forward, if you would agree, break the contract into smaller pieces. That way you can get minority and women-owned businesses to successfully bid and compete for contracts. So A, it has to be in the RFP when it goes out to the prime, that they have to abide by federal regulation to bring in minority subs. And then B, the contract has to be broken to a size that fits all.
I love the idea, and 8 years ago or so, 7 years ago, I tried to do it. But because bidding is controlled by the school code, there's no language in there. It's different than Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia has its own, it's a first-class city, so it has its own rules. We're bound by the school code. There's no language that allows us to do anything other than lowest responsible bidder. What we have tried to do, and I will make sure we're doing it more, is to at least put in the RFP, you know, a disclosure requirement about what you're doing in terms of minority hiring. But we can't turn down a bidder, the lowest responsible bidder, no matter who they are. But well, if you've got other ideas of ways we can go that don't involve the lowest responsible, absolutely, the district has been exploring it for a while.
Keyword responsible. So when
I
you
know,
say
I tried that too.
responsible, that's where you might have a little more teeth.
Yeah.
But, and break down the contract. Pull a piece out, instead of the plumbing contract being $500,000, part of that $500,000 plumbing can be $20,000 for a wing or something. You can always break it down. Supplies, that can go to minority business. There are several innovative ways of breaking down a RFP so that you can get better participation.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
Another way you can do it is usually through a joint venture where majority company can pair up with a minority company as a joint venture where they can gain experience and have a reputation where they'll be able to go out in the future and bid on their own instead of a joint venture. When I was in Philadelphia, quite a few companies that we worked with did that.
The problem the district faces ultimately is whoever the lowest bidder, we've tried cases of saying this bidder is not responsible, and the Commonwealth Court has not been friendly. They just haven't. But these are, believe me, it's an issue that I've been asked on multiple occasions to look into, and I still want to work on it and find a way to push the ball forward a little. So if the board wants, I'll take a look at it again.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Lansdowne. I just want to comment on the increase of school lunch. I don't like it, and I need to know why are we increasing school lunch? Are our kids getting more food?
No, this is a typical every 2 years we raise because we have the cost of the lunch, and I don't think Kim's here, is $3.18, correct?
We are reimbursed for free students at a rate of $3.18. So we're mandated by the USDA to at some point try to meet that level. So the district has made it a point that we don't raise the prices every year as most districts do, but we usually raise it every 2 years, anywhere between 15 and 25 cents, so that we're consistent with that law. That reimbursable rate also increases as the years go on. And that's why the proposal is in there for us to raise it. We're mandated by, we don't make any money off of that. We're mandated by the USDA to do so.
Anyone else? Public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Deborah Harris Bogle, how you doing?
Hey there, how are you?
I'm doing fine. I see that we are looking at a new charter school.
Yes, we are.
I have a problem with that. Okay, I'm for private, charter, and public school. But when it takes so much money out of public school, it bothers me.
Absolutely.
I taught in Chester Upland School District, okay? And that's the bottom line I have to say, okay? Charter school ate up the district. And I don't want to see Grand Penn School District going into the same slide as Chester Upland School District. They open up the charter school, you open up a can of worms. And I'm be honest with you, charter schools are it's a problem. Especially when it's taking from our own kids that come going to public school. My son went to public school all his life, okay? And to see this, I'm hoping and praying that y'all have decided not to, because we already have one, right? We already have one. What do we need another one for? Is that one doing anything? Is that one doing anything? Is that one that we had? I know I just started coming back, but I just want to know, has that one improved anything? And I'm not talking about test scores, because they lie about test scores. They lie about, we have kids here, and all of a sudden they go into the charter school, and they become special ed. And so that means instead of getting, what, $10,000, $20,000, they get $30-some thousand because they're special ed, because they can't. Just one little thing. It doesn't have to be really a long IEP. It could just be one little IEP, and they get $32,000. And they weren't special ed when we had them. So they take our money. Okay, so can you answer that question? How's the first charter school doing? And if the first charter school is not doing anything, why?
Just for the record, the board voted to deny that charter school. It's the state that overruled them and granted the charter.
This one, the first
The one that's operating, and they're in their first year, and the district actually has a whole accountability sheet that they're using with the school. But it's the first year, so we haven't gotten a lot of information yet. But believe me, they'll be looking.
Okay, so if they're still looking at the first one, okay, I'm still at the same question. Why are we opening the second one? We still haven't gotten results. We haven't gotten any status or anything about the first one. Why are we asking for a second one? Like I said, I'm for all of them, but if they take so much money out of us, and then on top of that, when they take more money out, I'm sorry to say this, but then you're going to raise my taxes again. Okay?
That's the way it works. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, hearing none. Communications. Mr. Cuff, any communications this evening?
There are no communications.
Thank you, Mr. Cuff. Committee reports. Ms. Boykins first, please. Community relations.
A1 William Penn School District earns a place on the College Board's Gaston Caperton Opportunity Honor Roll. A2 Penwood Middle School presents The Lion King. I'm going to read that one out because I'm not saying the first one's not important, but this is very exciting because this is something different our kids are getting into, and we should always support that. Penwood Middle School students, directed by music teacher Miss Judy Jordan, will perform the musical The Lion King. Tickets are $5 and may be purchased in advance at the school's main office or by contacting play director Miss Judy Jordan, and her information is down there. Performances will take place at Penwood Middle School, 121 Summit Street in Darby as follows: Thursday, March 3rd, and Friday, March 4th at 7 p.m., and Saturday, March 5th at 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. A3 Penwood Middle School presents annual Music in Our Schools Month concert on Thursday, March 17, 2016 at 7 p.m. The middle school music department, under direction of Ms. Danielle DiRenzo, band director, and Ms. Judy Jordan, choral director, will host its annual Music in Our Schools Month concert. The concert is an opportunity to showcase the musical talents of the Penwood Middle School Band and choir to the community. The concert will be held at Penwood High School, Green Avenue campus. Music in Our School Month is celebrated every March and is sponsored by the National Association for Music Educators. This March marks the 31st anniversary of Music in Our Schools Month. Since 1907, the focus of the National Association for Music Educators has been to make sure every student has access to a well-balanced, comprehensive, and high-quality program of music instruction taught by qualified teachers. A4 Lansdowne Upper Darby Rotary Club Student of the Month Awards, and A5 Give Kids a Smile Children's Dental Access Program. I'm going to read this out because I think a lot of kids need it. Sometimes we let our pride get in the way and don't take advantage of opportunities like this. Public Citizens for Children and Youth is sponsoring its 2016 Give Kids a Smile Day outreach. The Smile Day event will be held from March 22nd to the 25th, 2016, and is open to children and teens from infancy through age 18. Parents may begin calling PCCY starting March 7th to make appointments for their children. Participating dental offices in Southeast Delaware County, West Philadelphia, and Norristown area will offer free dental screening for more than 500 children and teens. Smile Day is particularly for children who do not have dental insurance or who have not seen a dentist in more than 6 months. Parents who wish their child to receive services for Smile Day must call PCCY. There's information and schedule an appointment. Appointments will be made from March 7th until the available spaces have been filled. Helpline representatives at PCCY will also help parents apply for medical assistance and CHIP coverage for children who need health insurance. Volunteers are needed to answer phones to make dental appointments at the PCCY office in Center City from March 7th to 24th. PCCY is also looking for volunteers to provide in-person language interpretation in Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese the week of March 21st at selected dental offices. To volunteer, please sign up by Friday, February 26th. And questions about volunteering should be directed to Chris Capron at PCCY. Please take advantage of that and share it as much as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Boykins? Yes.
Let's make this, I just have a comment.
No, comments, then motion.
Okay, if we could just direct our attention, I don't want you to read the whole thing, but in A1, can you read the paragraph where it says William Penn all the students?
Yes.
I think it's awesome.
Yes, definitely. William Penn is the only school district in Pennsylvania that has made both the 2015 Gaston-Caperton and the 2015 AP District Honor Roll. In December 2015, William Penn was honored by the College Board with placement on the 6th Annual AP District Honor Roll for increasing access to the Advanced Placement course, work while simultaneously maintaining or increasing the percentage of students earning scores of 3 or higher on AP exams.
I just want to thank Dr. Cooley, and I see Dr. Lee here as well, one of our assistant principals, for that amazing work you and the rest of the administrators do and the teachers. I graduated from Penwood as well, and I'm very proud of what you guys do. It's amazing. It's a great work. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a second, please?
What's the motion?
Anybody else?
Is it all informational?
What's the motion?
It's all informational. All right, moving right along. Thank you. Education Committee, Mr. Wright, please.
Homebound instruction. B2, termination of homebound instruction. B3, release and settlement agreement. B4, new rate sheet for dental T group from $18.50 to $18 per hour for bus aides effective 1/21/2016 through 1/21/2017. Eastland's Down Elementary School kindergarten trip to the Garden State Discovery Museum. Ms. Fink and Mr. Patterson request permission for the Garden Station to visit the Garden State Discovery Museum, 2040 in Cherry Hill, New Jersey on March 8, 2016. The purpose of this trip is for students to learn more about the topic, discovering the world around us through plays and using their 5 senses. The students will explore the museum exhibits and directly correlate to themes they have and will be studied in the classroom. There will be 48 students, 12 chaperones, and 2 staff members attending. The cost of this trip is $5 per student. Those students will be denied due to the inability to pay. The Homeless School Search is underwriting expensive. B6, spring athletic schedule. And the Education Committee will be holding a meeting March the 17th at 6:30 p.m. here in this building.
Great. A big shout out to Ms. Fink. This is the second grant she's received this year on behalf of her students. It shows a lot of initiative. May I have a second?
Second.
Any other comments from the school board of directors?
Yeah, I'd just like to let Joe know that after you're retired, Joe, and Cam Glover is on that trip, so if you want to supervise, he's a friend of ours. He's a kindergartner at East Lansdowne. You want to go on the class trip, I'll go with you.
Wants to take some time off.
For Cam, I'll come out. Anybody that's got the name of Cam is important.
Anyone else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Thank you very much. Ms. Hummel, personnel, please.
Yeah, first, I would like to apologize to Ms. Fitty. You asked for a copy of this, and we were caught up in executive session, and I didn't get a copy of this to you, but I will in the future. And I'll ask Mr. Conley. Mr. Conley took care of it. This is why I like
What I
you.
asked for earlier today,
Yes.
so I had the copy of.
Okay, and that basically, for the audience's attention, is that these are the last-minute things having to do with personnel, not anything that has to be approved on the agenda, but where we stand in terms of who's doing long-term substitute, who might be going out, are we having interviews, to just try to keep us up to speed on things. So,
And the only reason why I say that, not to interrupt with you, I'm on your committee.
No, I understand that.
And I like to be aware of the hirings because I know a lot of people in our communities are out of work. And I'm trying, I can't promise them, but they have a right to a fair interview.
Sure, so that we know what's coming up as open spots. I hear you, I apologize again, I agree. C1, resignations. C2, death of employee. C3, retirement. And you can see the long list under B on page 9. The reason we're having that long list this month is that there's a contractual obligation for any teacher who's retiring to let us know by the 15th of February. So they'll all come at the same time, and you shouldn't see any more retirements after this. That's the whole bulk of who's retiring next year. C4 is appointments, and C5 is change of assignment, C6 is leave of absence, and C7 is approval of the acting superintendent's employment contract. And that's the report.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Any questions from the Board of School Board Directors? Ms. Fiddler?
I would like to really thank you. A lot of these teachers I've known, I've been in the district for many years. I want to thank them for their service. 1986, 1983, I mean, most of these teachers had taught my children, both my boys came to this district, and they did very well. Why? Because the three elements: the parent that got involved, the teacher loved coming to school, the student wanted to come to school, and the teacher loved their education. And I want to thank each and every one of these that are leaving and retiring for their service.
Thank you, Ms. Finney. Anyone else? All those in favor? Aye. Anyone against? Thank you very much. Oh, the best committee of all. Sorry. Property Committee? D1, roof replacement at Penwood High School, Green Avenue campus. D2, change order, Garland DPS, partial roof replacement. And a credit change order of S.J. Thomas, Penwood High School, Cypress campus, quarter 4 replacement. Informational items, a summary of the recent property committee meeting, and the next property committee meeting will be March 14th in this room, starting at 6:30.
May I move the agenda?
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any comments? Yes, ma'am?
Okay, on the property committee meeting that we had,
Yes.
and we talked about the bus lot in Darby,
Yes.
has anything been done to proceed with, selling that land?
We're still in the process of getting these signs made up and putting that out there, getting that posted. We went through the process of getting all the lot cleared out of the cars that were parked there.
Not clear. I saw the since when?
today.
We're in the process
Okay.
of getting it. Richard, if you want to speak on it.
Yes, my number 2 guy at the facilities department has spoken with the manager of the Meineke place. The cars should be out by Friday. We've also been negotiating with a fencing contractor to replace the fence there. I need to speak to Jeff about it, but we're looking to do the fence sometime late this week.
Do you know what type of fence you're putting up?
It's going to be a chain link fence that's similar to the one that's in place right now. I think it's either 8 or 10 feet high. Okay.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
While the buses were there, it was considered tax exempt. Why it's an empty lot, is it still considered tax exempt?
Yes, it's still owned by the district. Yes, so it's still tax exempt.
Okay.
Anyone else? Anyone else have questions? No. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? Thank you very much. Mr. Cape, Budget and Finance, please.
Yes, ma'am. E1 Treasurer's Report, E2 List of Bills, E3 Refinancing of our 2011 General Obligation Bond. You can read through the details of the motion. E4 Proposed 2016-2017 Full Price School Lunch Increase. And E5 is just a summary of our recent Budget and Finance Committee meeting.
May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Any questions from the Board of School Board Directors? Yes, ma'am?
Yes. Jeff, I went through the bill list and was looking at it diligently, but I don't understand where we have 3300 first page, community service. Do you not have that?
That's the treasurer's report.
Yes, okay, yeah. Yes, it would be the treasurer's report.
Okay.
Can you please explain that?
Community service. So community service is a function that is designated by the PDE code. So community relations are basically the cost that we incur for our crossing guards or anything else out there that we put out for community relations?
Okay, why you say that? That's a good question, because I asked for a crossing guard on Lexington and Emerson.
Correct. So we had some, Nick is actually evaluating to see what's out there. Because there hasn't been any influx of new kids out there, so he's been out there trying to watch it to see what the need is.
Well, I was out there for a month and watched, and we definitely need it. Accident waiting to happen. Okay, I'm going to vote no on the bill list, just for personal reasons. I'm dealing with delinquent taxes, and people are really crying that they cannot afford it, and a lot of people are losing their houses, so to speak. And that's what I'm working on.
Mrs. Fitty, on the crossing guard, was it only for half a day? In the morning it's in the afternoon?
It's morning, afternoon. You and I just discussed that. I sat there in the morning. It's morning, afternoon. It is in the morning.
Just the morning?
No, it's in the morning, afternoon.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyone else have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone against? All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Against the bill list.
Okay. Ms. Finney is against the bill list. Regarding budgeting finance, if I may, please call your legislators. We are now in day 256 of no budget. They have our money. We want it. It's silly. They're not even talking about it. They're telling us that we're not going to have a budget until November. That means they will go a whole year without one, add on 6 months. That is devastating to our communities and to our students.
What's the matter with these people?
Call your legislators. They're not even working on it. Call your legislators, please. We appreciate you coming tonight. If everybody in this room makes a phone call, sends a email, we are all better for it.
Write your own name on the ballot. When it's time to vote for these people, write your own name in. Don't vote for them.
Policy agenda, we have nothing today, Mrs. Richardson.
No, there is no policy for the agenda item.
Great. Solicitor's report.
We did have an executive session before the meeting to discuss a personnel issue. On that, no report.
Great, thank you. Old business, old business, Mr. Cox.
There is no old business.
Thank you. New business. I will read this.
Well, I'd like to make a motion. It would just make things go quicker.
Okay.
This is in regard to new business, item 1, Super Kids, Super Schools, Charter School application. The appropriate hearings have been held, and people had a chance to talk about this. And the motion that I would like to put forward is to deny the Super Kids, Super Schools charter application to establish a charter school in the William Penn School District.
Thank you, Ms. Hummel. May I have a second?
Second. Are we going to take a separate vote from
We are going to take a roll call vote.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Okay, you got it. Mr. Cuff, can you do a roll call? Is there any other comments from the Board of School Board Directors on this issue? Okay, thank you. Mr. Cuff?
Okay. Ms. Hummel?
Yes, to deny.
Ms. Boykins?
To deny.
Mr. Wright?
Yes to deny.
Mr. Cave?
Deny.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
Deny.
Ms. House? Mr. House?
Deny.
Deny.
Ms. Fitty?
Deny.
And Mr. Burrell?
Denied.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Wright, report from Delaware County Community College, please.
All right, thank you. Last month, my report from Delaware County Community College, we were scheduling a tour at a high-tech manufacturing plant. Unfortunately, I received a call and he said we'd be unable to attend that tour because this high-tech manufacturing plant is going through renovations and they're concerned about safety. So they agreed that we can reschedule in the fall. So I immediately made a phone call to Delaware County Community College and trying to find an alternative. That's where we are now. Hopefully by the end of the week, we'll be able to come up with an alternative that we can have on this high-tech manufacturing tour. But however, Delaware County Community College is holding a STEM Career Night, Thursday, February the 25th, 2016, from 5 to 7:30 p.m. Snow date, March the 3rd. Keynote speaker will be John Hunt, Senior Director of Terminal Operations at Sunoco. And STEM stands for Exciting Career in Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. This is something I'm very passionate about. This is a career option. I met some individuals over the weekend was talking about fracking will be another area that our students can participate in for a career. We would like parents and students from the William Penn School District to attend this career night. This is hopefully to show it to the public. This will take place, like I said, Thursday the 25th. Personally, with the help of Mr. Bruni, who said he would pay for the bus, that we would organize students Thursday to attend as well as parents. I have a sign-in sheet that you can see me at the end of the meeting if you're planning to attend. And that way we would know that we order a small bus or a large bus. So I hope I can get everybody's participation. I know we talk about Marple Newtown, Marple Swarthmore, Springfield. They usually have very good participation at this affair. So this time I'm asking us to step up, and we will have more than in those schools.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. STEAM and STEM is where it's at. Please attend. I'm sorry. Question?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
And Mr. Ray, I went to Delaware County Community College. I'm asking for them to cover people like my children go from the district, they get a discount because they're in the William Penn School District.
That's correct.
What I'm working with is for people my age that want to go back and further some careers or get certified in certain fields where we get the discount.
You do. Yeah, you do.
I've done that out. So, this is extended not only for our children but for adults. So I put a flyer around in my community, people that want to further, even senior citizens that want to go back to school and learn something, not even to go back to work, just learn mathematics or something, do whatever. And I just found out that they will accept me and some seniors. Well, I consider myself a senior, but I can go to school and get a discount. And I want to thank you for handing out these flyers. This is awesome. My son was highly adequate, applied for Boeing but never got in, but he successfully works for SEPTA. And my other son works for Conrail. And they both graduated from the district, and thanks for you for accepting Larry the first day of school. They both graduated with a 4.0 GPA.
Thank you, Ms. Fitting.
This is what public school does.
Great.
Thank you.
Delaware County Intermediate Unit, Mr. Burrell?
Yes, I just have a few items. I do want to make a segue into what you said. There's a lot of districts that do not have that discount as well. William Penn School District is something that's a benefit of being part of this district. It's something that I do recommend that you do take advantage of. But there's the Delaware County Intermediate Unit is having the LPN graduation. There's an LPN program on February 25th at 6 o'clock at the Marple Education Center. There's a graduation for that. And a lot of our kids do take advantage of that program. And I do encourage everyone to attend the Delaware County Intermediate Unit meetings. And the next meeting is March 2nd, 2016 at 7 p.m. in Morton. So I do encourage everyone to attend. It's under-attended by our community, if that makes any sense. So I definitely recommend everyone that's out here this evening to come to that meeting. Thanks.
All right.
March 2nd at 10 p.m.?
7 p.m.
7 p.m.? Also, I want to back up with Mr. Burrell here, that they not only, the Delaware County Intermediate Unit also helps our children from age 2, 3, 4, 5, before they go to school, when they have problems of speaking and what have you. I wasn't aware of that until my grandson was in speaking at 3. And Captain Greenstein had told me about this program. Well, now I can't shut him up. So the DCUI, I want to thank them very much because they did give my grandson an opportunity to help him speak. But I am going to come to these meetings because I do want to learn more. They offer a lot of programs that we are not aware of. Thank you.
Excuse me. Can I answer that? I did get a confirmation from Delaware Intermediate Union. That's going to be on the education agenda March the 17th. And they're going to come out here and explain all their programs.
Great.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Mr.
And Mr.
Ray.
Burrell also will be participating.
I'll be there.
Great. I'm going to be at the concert. They all take good notes. Sorry. Delaware County Legislative Council, Mr. King.
There hasn't been a ton, but I hope I don't put her on the spot. I just want to introduce again Joanna McClinton, and sorry Joanna, but she is one of the few legislators in the General Assembly who are really pushing for support of the governor's budget, which is a very taxpayer-friendly budget, and it's a very public school-friendly budget. If you don't mind me asking you, from the inside, what's the sense of the progress? I mean, she's one of the. I've talked to her on many occasions, and she's really given some key insight. But I just thought it'd be important to share it to the constituents. Just what's your sense of what's going on inside? Does it feel like we're ever really kind of getting closer to a budget, like day 256? I'm hearing rumors of a 2-year budget, but even that might not even come till much later in the year. What are you hearing?
Sure. Well, I appreciate being considered a member of the inside. I think the chairwoman might be more on the inside. I'm like, November? I hadn't heard that. We were last in Harrisburg. Not last week, but the week prior, and we're scheduled to go back the week of March 13th. Right now, appropriations hearings started today, where they're taking testimony for the 16-17 budget. So as all of you know, Governor Wolf gave his budget address on February the 9th, and normally any governor would lay out his or her priorities and how he or she hoped to fund them. And Governor Wolf did something that no one had done last February in 2015, which is kind of what incited the rebellion, because at this point I'm calling it rebellion. There's one fundamental job that we have as legislators, and that is to go to Harrisburg, divide up the state's resources, not often divided too well depending on who's in control. Right now 119 Republicans, 83 Democrats, but we're supposed to divide those resources and send a budget back down. When Governor Wolf spoke last year, he talked about raising taxes, about 30 new taxes. Not because he wants to tax us to death, but because our state is in a financial crisis. The Commonwealth is not in a good credit rating. It's continuously downgraded, particularly with school boards like yourselves having to borrow money in this budget impasse. I wish I had good news to share with you tonight. But one thing you'll continue to learn about me is that I'm going to be as upfront with you as possible, even if it's not happy news to share. And the unhappy news is that after Governor Wolf gave his budget address the week before last, things seem to divide a little bit more further than they had previously been. I was most hopeful in December. If you follow this, it's like a soap opera written by Shonda Rhimes. In December, it was looking most hopeful because we finally had enough Republican votes to get most of the governor's budget passed. And we were ready to vote, and I will tell you, as honestly as it happened, I mean, we were told, and we, meaning the Democrats, we were told we were going to come back to vote at 12:30. Then we all get this email from the administrator, from the Speaker's office. It's been pushed to 1. Then we're told we have a caucus. And then we're told, oh, the speaker is gaveling us out until the new year, right now. And there happened to be about 3 members on the floor that stood up and like, hey, wait a minute. We have a big vote to take. Whether you want to vote for it or not, Mr. Speaker, you know, it's been a negotiation. It's been a bargain. It's been agreed to by so many members in the majority to vote on it to finally get it done. And there was great resistance. And last week, Governor Wolf told everyone if they didn't want to do the hard and difficult task of sitting down at the table, coming back to this budget and actually voting for it, that they should get another job. Now, because he said it just like that, a lot of the leaders felt like, okay, well, it seems as if the governor is whining. And you all don't have to have a political science degree to see what's going on. Clear obstruction, clear rebellion, and it's all about protecting their very own self-interest. Every member of the House runs this year. That's not a secret. That's not a surprise. Every member. So if there's any way there could be a budget, there will have to be a tax vote. No one wants to take it before April 26th. I wonder why. No, because people are in a primary and unfortunately in the Alabama that lies between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and of course Delco is a part of Philadelphia for that metaphor. Many of them have made commitments to never ever under any circumstances raise taxes. Even if this Commonwealth is broke, even if our credit rating is worse than anyone else's, they've made commitments to never do that. And the ones that haven't made commitments are afraid of a primary challenge. And that's just the truth. They're afraid that if they were the ones to put the vote up, then there's going to be someone more conservative to come in their district and take their seat away. So it is nothing more than embarrassing. When you mention calling legislators and when you mention directors to vote for yourself, you know, my friend here can tell you I was sinking down in my chair. It's embarrassing. It's totally embarrassing. No, it's embarrassing for me personally
because the Speaker of the House's name is Mike Turzai. Turzai. Call him up.
He tried to take away people's right to vote. I'm proud of it.
In the last presidential, if you remember, the voter ID law was led by the Speaker. And there are
comments. Don't keep calling him the Speaker. His name is Mike Turzai, and he deserves your phone call. Mike Turzai. Okay, call every number you can find on the internet for him. And his sister. Call them all.
It's the truth. A few months ago, and I'm sorry for the long answer, but I just feel like I should give a full explanation of what it is that I know. A few months ago, for those of you who we use social media together, on my like page and my personal page, twice I've done this. I've asked everyone to call both Mike Turzai, the Speaker of the House, and the Majority Leader, David Reed, because they have full control of the calendar, of which bills we vote on, of when we vote on them. We could even implore them to call a special session that's not scheduled. The Constitution, under limited circumstances, allows for there to be a special session. If they called it for tomorrow, I'd get on the turnpike because it's really embarrassing. It's ridiculous. It's not just William Penn. It's so many other school districts that are being affected. But I will say this. When I sit down and eat lunch with members of the Republican Party in Harrisburg, they say, no one's called my office, so call them. Call them all. Call each, and those of you who don't even work daytime, go down the list, pahouse.gov, click on every one of those names, 119 of them, call them all, and say, I don't mind a little tax raise if it'll help some children succeed in life. I don't mind a small tax increase if it'll mean that there'll be books in schools, because what's going to happen is they're going to come back here with the school board making an even more difficult decision for your property taxes. And we don't want to do that. And the whole governor's plan was to be able to either decrease or eliminate property taxes by doing some other ones to balance the budget.
That's why he was elected. That's why they threw Corbett out.
That's my question. So they talk about tax increases, and what I see is a don't sit down here. A tax rearrangement. The schools.teach.com showed us getting back 50% of our property taxes in exchange for under 2% on our personal income tax. If you if you made 50, you paid on 50.
Yes.
If you made 20, you paid on 20. If you were a senior citizen, you were protected because you made less. So I don't call that, and if I'm wrong, tell me, I don't call that raising taxes, I call that rearranging.
Well, if nationally you have been following the tone all across the nation, there are lots of other folks, lots of them, that call that raising taxes. And it's unfortunate, because you're right, it is more of a tax shift. I mean, one of the last proposals last year was for them to do a sales tax increase, which I honestly was adamantly against, because the other side of my district already pays 8% on every dollar. I mean,
regressive tax.
Yes, it's totally regressive and on the backs of the poor. But the personal income tax was honestly very minor. It was very minor. It was not like you would then get your paycheck next Friday and say, $25 are missing. No, it was not that significant. It was 3%. Annually, and it had to be that you made about $50-something thousand for it to even affect you. Now we know $50,000 doesn't make you rich, but it was not affecting what many are low-wage workers. It was affecting people who have a little bit of a higher income, what would be considered middle class by the definition from the book. So you're accurate. You're accurate in that it's not an increase in taxes and then an increase in another tax. It's almost like a shift and a swap out, trying to make sure that school boards don't have to raise property taxes, because people like to live in the homes they purchased, right?
Yes.
That was a part of the sitting down and looking forward and all of that. You want to live there, you want to stay there, you want to raise your families there. So, I mean, the governor is aware it's not just here in Delaware County, but especially in other parts of Southeast and Reading and Allentown, where property taxes are driving up and up and up and up. And it's for education. It's for education. And then, of course, the other big debacle was on the Marcellus shale tax. When Governor Wolf ran, 2014, he said he was going to make the gas companies pay their fair share, because although they do actually pay a tax, it's called an impact fee, it goes to localities. So it goes to the small towns where they do their work and they, pave roads and do things like that. They don't actually send it to Harrisburg to fund education or pay any of the state's expenses. So he has proposed different rates of increases, and folks have been adamantly against that as well.
And is there any other state in the union where the gas companies do not pay a tax?
Oh, they do pay one here, but Governor Corbett would not call it a tax. He calls it an impact fee. But it's no other state.
It stays local.
It stays locally. It doesn't go to the capital because, of course, we've got $29 billion worth of bills. So it does not go to decrease what we owe and affect our bottom line at all. It stays locally entirely.
Thank you for standing up and chatting with us.
Thank you.
And I just want to finish and say, one quick thing. So many of you are here, and that's really important. So many elected officials are here are really important. If you look at your most successful school districts, your Radnor, your Lower Marions, one thing that's consistent is the community and municipal support of those districts. It's the children first in those public schools. That's what comes first. And one thing that will make us much better is if we have that unity among our municipal leaders as well to support these 5,000 kids in these districts. We look at Joe Bruni's legacy that will be felt for years to come. It's because he was children first. Not anybody who could potentially profit off of sliding test scores. Not anybody who could jockey in and get any kind of prominence because of any kind of charter expansion or anything like that. It's these public school kids first. There's 5,000 of them. That's a lot of kids. Yeah. My kid is in public school. I'm a public school product. And we have some retired public school teachers and so many employees that make a living off of your support. So I just want to thank you all who are here and appreciate your continued support over the years. Even when we haven't necessarily put the best product on the field, I think we can all see that we're right in the ship. and things are improving. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. King. Well, yes, sir.
Update on the school loans, since we were talking about the budget. Because the budget wasn't passed, then the school had to pick up additional loans.
Go on.
So we actually had pushed it back. We had an agreement. We talked to the bank. We asked them, could we push it back? We were trying to see if there was any other. The biggest subsidy that comes through is our basic ed subsidy. And we were trying to see if that's, when all the other subsidies were released from the state, we wanted to see if that other subsidy was going to be released so that would hold off our borrowing. That subsidy is not being released, so we've sent our cash flow statement back into the bank, so we're attempting to have that started up next week, and hopefully we can sign the documents to borrow next week. That'll keep us afloat until June.
So as it looks now, we will take a $9 million loan, which is our limit. It's a $10 million limit for short-term borrowing, correct, Jeff?
Correct.
And we will slide to June 30th. Then we will in some way have to flip that. We can't cross our fiscal year with that loan, which is June 30th. So we will have to in some way, and we haven't figured this out, slide that through and borrow another $9 million, pay back one, borrow another, so we can get to when taxes start flowing. If there's no resolution, and I don't mean this as a threat, I don't mean this as the bearer of bad news. If there is no resolution within our state government, we will probably be forced to close sometime in December. Close.
This is because the 2015 budget has not been approved.
2015 or 16 at that point. Right now, remember, by law, we have to approve a 16-17 budget by June 30th.
Yes.
We do not know what 15-16 brought us, or lack thereof. So I don't know, perhaps we'll look at tea leaves, I don't know, but we have no factual information to deal with. They're making us make impossible choices on behalf of 5,000 children. I do not take lightly saying we will have to close schools, but we will be out of money, and we will be out of short-term borrowing money.
Not just us.
Not just us. There's approximately 120 schools that are somewheres in our scenario. So if there's 501 districts, 25% of us are sitting like this. Rafi's whole budget meeting was an hour and a half. It wasn't talking about next year. It was an hour and a half of what if scenarios. What if the state does this? What if the state doesn't do this? That's crazy. We've sat on this board for 8 years. This is the craziest conversation I hope to never have again. That we have to make really, really bad choices. There are no good choices here, right? Like there's no, so they either flow. Now, we're owed $16 million by the state. $16 million. That allows for no increase over last year. That would just be getting what we got in 14-15. Come on, this is silly. These are children, and Ms. McClinton, no disrespect, but they're still getting paid.
Yep.
Right? They're still getting paid to, and that's their job, to make that decision. 3 years ago when this happened, they weren't getting paid. And it got done a lot quicker. But this year, not so much.
Apparently, they're non-essential personnel, and non-essential personnel should not get paid, right? Right. They're not doing their job.
Anyway, so that would be the sad story. And it's real, like, we're volunteers, right? We're the only politicians in Pennsylvania that don't get paid. Right? These are crazy decisions. Mr. Cuff is spending his time doing scenarios. We need him to be looking at other stuff, but right now we got to do scenarios.
Robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yes, Ms. Miller.
What's our plan B? And are we getting rid of like busing? Because I know if we get rid of busing for our local students, they also get rid of the busing for out-of-district students as well. Is that correct?
We started talking about a 2016-17 budget is what you're asking. You're not asking.
No, I'm asking about now.
Oh, we're not gonna change services till the end of the year.
So what things are we looking at to change now? Because I heard one of our principals say that we're not going to be able to run off paper or something.
No paper, no field trips, nothing.
Yeah. And we already don't have field trips at Ardmore. And we don't have after-school programs at Ardmore.
Wait a second. No, I'm serious. No, hold on. You have 18 supplemental credits to have after-school programs at Ardmore. You do have some. Excuse me. You have Run Like a Girl. You have gardening. Go to your principal.
Run Like a Girl.
Wait a second.
Go ahead.
Go to your principal, please. Okay?
We're paying somebody to do supplementals.
Right. Now, well, they're as needed basis, but please talk to your principal and then call me. Okay? Field trips have nothing to do with this scenario.
Well, it does, because don't we use our buses for that? No?
So to answer your question about busing, we're not curtailing our busing right now. But to go to your scenario that you opened up, if we were to cut our busing back for our own students, we still have to bus our charter school students, and we still have to bus the special ed students. So I don't want to change this into a budget and finance or operational meeting, but that we would cut transportation altogether and save money, that doesn't work, because we're still on the line for a good portion of our special ed busing and charter school as well.
So what is our plan B? Because, I mean, I'm just saying, my kids have no place else to go. I cannot afford to send my kids to private school. My kids did not get accepted to charter school. My kids have no place else to go.
Ms. Miller, you're expressing frustration at the wrong folks.
No, I'm not frustrated with you. I just want to understand, what is our plan B? I'm just saying, from my household, when we lose income, we cut things.
For 16-17. All right, is that your question?
For this year?
For me, I would cut
this
stuff
year we're
now.
fine. We're fine right now for this year.
So
you're talking about for 16-17.
No, she's talking about cutting now.
She thinks we're going to cut now.
No,
we're not cutting anything now.
The only thing we've done.
Let's not fake it. It's tight right now. Right now, currently, if we borrow the money, which we will be borrowing the money, that is going to be tight from now to the end of June. So that's what we're working on. We're working on some, so I'm not sure, I heard the comment of you can't use paper. No, we did issue a statement out to everyone in the district that we are not approving non-essential items of purchase. Now, I don't know if someone took that and ran with it and made it something more than what it was, but anything that's non-essential or that's not educationally critical, we're not approving those purchases. But if it's something that's critical to the educational program, we will approve that. We will provide funding for that. It's the non-essential stuff that we're not going to approve that comes up.
Does that include paper and Xeroxing? Because I hear that some schools are not.
It should not, because our copiers are taken care of. Paper is ordered once a year, so every school gets a big influx of paper in the fall that should carry them from July on out.
All right, any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Claudia Black-Lansdowne. I actually have a whole bunch of things, and some of it I know in the light of the budget, seems irrelevant, but I wanted to bring them up anyway. Piggybacking actually on Jamela, I'm more interested of a plan B for the new school year. I have a child going into high school, and I'd like to know what's going to be happening.
We don't know. There's budget meetings in the future. They're announced on the Facebook page. They're announced on Nextdoor. We don't know the answer to the question right now.
Has this been posted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's posted.
I'm just being honest.
Okay. What?
And I told you flat out, we will be, if they don't pass a budget, we will be out of money in December.
Right.
Schools will close.
On that note, how and when are you planning to notify parents?
As we sit and make our budget, right? We will figure it out and we will say, on this, if this does not get solved on this, we're projecting on this date, we will close.
Well, we have to pass the budget by May 30th.
Right, but we don't know what we're going to have.
Fund the budget.
Right.
Right.
I need to know, do I have to move? You know, do I need to look at this legislation?
Unless you move to another state, it won't help, because everybody in Pennsylvania is suffering through this.
So we will know what the Plan B is for next year when the state passes its budget. So go ask them. Go ask them. When is it going to be passed?
We're not trying to be snarky, but we don't know.
Okay, well, I'm just trying to find out.
The cards are not we don't hold any of the cards. Hold on, please, one at a time. Go on.
Okay. The next one, in regards to busing, my daughter takes a bus 710 to St. Andrew every morning, and that bus for the longest has been incredibly inconsistent. The bus doesn't show up several times, or is like enormously, before the time, and just leaves without waiting for the children. There are parents that are just bombarding in the intersection there, flying after the bus, blowing the horns, trying to make the bus stop. I have called the gentleman here several times. He never seems to know what's going on. I'm not sure what he's being paid for. He has no idea if buses aren't showing up, no idea that buses are extremely late, and he has a major attitude problem as well.
Are you talking to First Student or William Penn School District?
William Penn School District.
Okay, come give me your phone number afterwards and we'll solve this problem.
Okay. In regards also to busing, Ardmore Avenue is planned an international night for June 2nd, and wanted to find out if it would be an option that we could have a bus or two, I don't know how many it will take, available to bus parents to the night, because there's so many parents that are not in Lansdowne itself that are being bused to the school. One of the other things that has, especially in the last 2 years that my older one is from private schools come up, a lot of times, as a parent, I feel like the William Penn School District, the board, and people in the public school are complaining and looking badly upon parents that actually do make the choice to put their children in private school. But there are, just at St. Andrews alone, over 120 students from Lansdowne itself, not from Yeadon or any other borough in the school district, just from Lansdowne at St. Andrew. If those parents would actually make the choice to send their kids to public schools, what would you guys even do? The school's already totally filled with over 500 students. That would mean over 700 students or 600 students at Ardmore. And sometimes it seems like it's like a better choice that parents are sending their kids to private school, because there's no room for them in a public school.
Well, there is room for them in our district. We would welcome them back if they came back, and it would be a good problem to have. That's all I'm going to say.
The class is already at 30 students. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what class you're talking about, but
almost every class.
That's not. It's just not true. Okay, we look at enrollment reports every single week. Okay, it's just not true. So one of the things that we can do as a community is start talking with facts. And I don't want to be harsh, but when people make stuff up, it just throws gas on the fire.
I'm not talking about making up. I have the school roster for every class at Ardmore.
Okay, well,
I looked at my report this week and I looked for a 30 and there was no 30, not a 1.
Not in every single class.
I didn't say near 30 students.
Oh, near 30.
Okay. Well, that's enough.
Back and forth.
I think also in regards to high schools, and that's the thing that I've heard, and I just wanted to clarify it because I've not been able to get a straight answer. I've heard from several parents that they've gotten somehow notifications. They have kids going into high school, and they've been notified because William Penn has not made AYP last year, that if you have a kid going into high school, you are allowed to apply to other public schools.
And there's no AYP any longer.
There's no AYP.
No AYP.
That's not been for the last several years. That's totally wrong. The school profile, performance profiles are posted for the high schools in the Commonwealth. William Penn High School, or Penwood High School, has made probably some of the highest progress in the county with as far as percentage increases are concerned. You heard earlier they were just named to 2 honor rolls for AP students and for underserved students doing well in school. And historically in this school district, there's always been over 1,000 students at least attending private schools. If all of our students would return to William Penn School District, we would probably have close to 7,000 students here. The students that attend charter schools are another group of students that aren't here. Many students who live in Philadelphia and move to William Penn are already in those charter schools when they come here, and they stay in those charter schools. So it's very complex. And you're correct. We have 8 elementary schools, for example. We are running class sizes that are extremely high. We always have. We will run at least an average of 25 students in a classroom. And some in the past have been at 30, but certainly not all of them. And if all of these students would return, as it's been stated, that would be a good problem for the school district to have, in the sense that we would have to look at finding space for them, as we've done in the past, renting space or doing whatever we had to do. But you do not have choice in Pennsylvania to attend any other public school. Public schools usually do not take students from, you have to live in the school district to attend that school, and that's where they are. So there's no one in Delaware County accepting students. For example, Wallingford-Swansea is not accepting students from Chester Upland to attend their school district, as we don't have the privilege or right of attending any, even Upper Darby. If you don't live in Upper Darby, you can't attend Upper Darby. We put out close to 300 students a year for illegal residency. So whatever you hear about William Penn School District, there's certainly a lot of people that will be here. And it takes us a lot of time finding out, where they are. All the news that we've been getting has been very positive about William Penn and the progress students are making under duress. We do more with less. I mean, and someone quoted, we do more without, meaning there's not much left here. But that's why I'm always encouraged by parents who send their children to our schools, who are supportive of us, and Mrs. Fitty said it. If the student is motivated and wants to achieve, is supported by parents at home and by good teachers in schools, those students are all successful in William Penn, and they would be successful in most school districts.
But it's not just the education, it's also the safety issue and where our schools are located. I live around the corner from the high school, and you guys are talking about it would be great if we would have 1,000 students back. Where would we put them? If I would send my daughter to high school coming in September, she would be sent to Yaden. I live in Lansdowne. There's a high school right here. So if there were another 1,000 students, who knows where she's going to be shipped off to?
We're not going to talk in hypotheticals. I'm telling you.
Those are the reasons why parents choose to send their kids to different schools.
There are a lot of reasons that people choose to send their children to different schools. This is not the place to debate them, and we are doing much better than we were. The trajectory is upward. I'm going to stand by it. We're going to keep going upward, and we're going to get better every single day at our craft. And that's that.
And I would like to say, too, that's not unique to William Penn. I think, and I'll say this publicly, that if you look at the number of students who attend Radnor and Lower Merion, there are probably more students in private school than there are in the public school. And those are listed as the highest achieving schools in the state of Pennsylvania. People make choices for their children to send them wherever they want for whatever reason. So that's the issue with private
I was
schools.
just with the school board president of Rose Tree Media, who was complaining that when Haverford School moved into his community, he lost all his best students and his best athletes. This is not a William Penn problem. This is everywhere.
Every community.
So we're going to get better at our craft. We're moving up, and that is that. We cannot control the state issue. We are merely the victims of it, and so are all of you.
And I want to say this, and this is the sad thing. Someone mentioned 100 school districts in this state that are ready to close. Some will be closing sooner than December of 2016. And when that starts to happen, I'm sure that our elected representatives, and I think that's what our governor's waiting for, when will the first school district in this state have to close? The outrage will be unbelievable. And I think that's when people will finally get on the bus and go to Harrisburg and surround that Capitol building and say, this is outrageous. So far, school districts have not closed, but there are several right now that are in worse shape than William Penn and will be closing before we do. And once that first school district closes, I think that's going to be the catalyst to make things happen. And it's sad to say that we have to wait until that happens, but it's going to happen, and it's going to happen before William Penn. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing, you know, to keep track of and to see what the public response will be to that.
Mr. Wright, hold on.
Since Ms. Joanne McClinton, can you stand up, please? I have one question. Very short.
She's like, this is the last meeting
All right. My question is, I know we talked about charter schools, and the governor right now, from what I observed in research, he could make 2 or 3 appointments on the Charter School Appeal Board. What can we do to get the governor to act on it? Because most of the Charter School Appeal Board members were appointed by Governor Corbett. So what can we do to help you for the governor appoint those that would be a little more friendly?
Well, I can't speak on behalf of Governor Wolf, but based upon what I've seen in the time that he's been serving, is that he is not a proponent for charter school expansion. He has made lots of efforts to make sure that charter schools don't continue to expand. If you could look at what was done with his appointment on the SRC last year, he made sure he chose Marjorie Neff, who had been the principal for years and years at Masterman, and based on her votes, I'm not saying it was anything coordinated, but based on her votes, she has been one of the most outspoken on the School Reform Commission against the expansion of charter schools in Philadelphia. So what I would recommend that you do is simply call his office. His office is very responsive. If you just call the office, the number that's on his website under the governor's website, Contact Me, they are very responsive and they will listen to your concerns in that regard. One thing that he did include in the budget proposal from December was a decrease in spending for cyber charter schools across the Commonwealth in an effort to make sure that school districts and school boards, like right here at William Penn, do not have as many additional expenses.
Mr. Brady also has a wonderful email. If you get on his email list, there are constant updates from Governor Wolf's office of what you can do and asking you to help him out, because the people, I'm sorry, I was talking out of turn, but the people of this state voted out Governor Corbett based on the fact that education was the most important issue in the gubernatorial race. So those Republicans there can say all they want, but that's what this is about.
Right.
And Corbett was the first governor not to be reelected. The people in this state have spoken, but they need to speak louder. You know, I think this is Governor Wolf trying to do everything that he promised.
This month, not this month, next month, the Supreme Court in the state of Pennsylvania will be hearing our lawsuit for equality in school funding. So yes, that's been moved to the court, and what the hope is that the Supreme Court will return that to the Commonwealth Court to have that trial, to hear that case. And William Penn's face is on that lawsuit with 6 other school districts, and it's coming to happen. So we will see what the state Supreme Court does with that lawsuit.
The flip side of this is so many of these schools are minority.
Well, with the case of finances right now, it probably couldn't be a better climate for that case to be heard right now. So that's a positive.
Ms. Miller, quickly.
I just had another question. Had we considered not taking out that loan and being one of the first districts to go ahead and force the governor's hand? I'm just saying. I'm just asking a question.
That should kick around.
Right.
I mean, honestly, but we owe it to our kids and our employees to try to fight as long as we can.
But our taxes are going to go up. You know, we live in a district.
Can you stand up, Mr. Miller? Yes, Mr. Miller, your taxes are going to go up.
Yeah, if there are more state budget cuts, yes.
Taxes more state budget, but isn't it Governor Wolf's plan to have that increase on our state income tax instead of our residential tax, by property taxes go up? So
we're going to get it from both ends.
If you get 50% of your property tax back, and your personal income tax goes up 2%, are you ahead, Mr. Miller? You are ahead, Mr. Miller.
I am, but how long are we going to be ahead if the taxes are going to go up?
They haven't passed.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
This always upsets me so much.
I'm sorry, name and...
I'm sorry, I'm Tony Smiley, I live in Yaden.
Great, thank you.
And one thing you said that resonated with me is very true. When I moved to Yaden 30-some years ago, my kids never went to a public school, and they never have.
Right.
I made a concerted effort, and I did without certain things so my children could go to private school. Now, everybody cannot do that.
Right.
You know,
That was your personal
that was my personal choice. But what always upsets me so much when I come to these meetings, I feel bad for the residents, their kids, I feel bad for you guys, I feel bad for everybody, and it seems like such a crazy situation that there seems to be no answer to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my son went to St. Joe's Prep, you know, but I had to pay out of the wazoo.
Well, my kid went to Penn Wood and is doing very, very well.
But this is what I want to say. When my friends were coming up, they went to Girls High, they went to all their schools. Those were great schools. Those were great public schools. There was no charter schools, and if you wanted to send your kids to Catholic school or private, it was your prerogative. Do you know what I'm saying? But the thing that I get so frustrated by it because I don't understand the system. Because my kids never went to a public school. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just feel like, wow.
Change the system. The politicians
Everybody needs an education.
And the chances are, if you are poor and a minority in our state, 90% likely to be in a failing school district.
Well, you know, Ms. Huff, my granddaughter went to Friends Select on Benjamin Franklin Parkway. 13 kids in the classroom with little animals and a whole bit, but $17,000 a year.
Triple that now.
Exactly. So who can afford that?
Right.
So what does one do?
Listen, here's the thing, and I hate to say this, it costs $30,000 to incarcerate someone. That is privatized in the state of Pennsylvania. It costs $17,000 to educate a child. Do you want a society of people in jail, or do you want a society of educated folks?
And an interesting thing, which is very interesting for public, check with some other school district. You will be shocked to hear how many students are in classrooms of wealthier school districts. It's just not here. So you're going to find those numbers of 25 not unrealistic elsewhere. Just call any of those school districts and find out what those average class sizes are.
And when I came here to Penwood, everybody was going to Penwood, and it was a fabulous school district.
And funding has been cut at the state by over 50% since that time.
All right.
That's really where it comes down to.
I mean, I know it's...
Only because I like you, yes.
Marie Louise from Lansdowne. This is completely different, so hopefully my kid's at Ardmore Avenue. My husband drops her off in the morning and has brought this, and I've asked at the school, and the principal said they don't really have power over this, so The problem is the parents and the buses all drop off on the same space. The parents have started to just stop the car in the middle of the street instead of pulling over and drop the kids walking across the street. There's other cars moving. The security guards, I guess, don't have the authority to say anything to the parents. I don't know what the school district can do, or if there's, Lansdowne police.
I will send an email to the chief and ask him to take a look. Because nobody's following instruction.
And it makes a huge mess.
Right, correct. We'll take care of that. Thank you. That was an easy one. Yeah, you. Anyone else? Yes, Ms. Boykins.
I just had two things to say. One thing is I'm always interested in hearing the public's feedback on our school system. I think it's very important for people to continue to show up to our school board meetings. It's very important for parents, and not just people, but what I mean by that is it's a lot of people that live in our school district that don't have kids that are in our school district as well, and you always hear their voices around certain times. But it's no way that we're going to be able to do this together and see this to success if people in the community that don't have kids in the community, if they don't come out, they have to come out as well. And people that do have kids in the community, you can't just complain. You got to be a part and active. This is a movement. It's not something where you just sit back and cross your hands and just stab, stab, stab. If you want to see things get done, if you want certain programs to be put in place, if you want to see our children and your children actually succeed, you have to be a part. You can't just sit back and complain. There's a lot of parents that complain about putting their kids into private schools and they want to compare us to charters and things like that. But I challenge you to be active. I challenge you to come out to a school board meeting and speak up and talk about things that you would like to see. How can we get there? This is not going to be just us sitting here. And I'm very passionate when I say that because I came from this district. I am an example, and there's several of us, and we are coming back to help. But it bothers me when you just hear parents complain and complain, but they sit with their hands folded. I challenge you to speak up in a meeting and come out to our committee meetings and state your point, and then take precedence and be active in a committee to help us reach those goals that you would like us to see. So I really appreciate your comments, but I challenge you to come out more, be active, be a part of the community, because I want the best for your children as well. The second statement I wanted to make is I wish that more people would come out to our girls' basketball games. The reason why I say that is that it's I'm passionate about this is because right now a lot of people don't know what's going on in our athletic department. Our girls have won the Del Valle Championship 3 years in a row. Wow. Okay? I want you to understand that people might say, oh, it's just basketball. But athletics in general help our children drastically. It keeps our kids off the street from doing crazy things. It keeps them out of trouble. But another thing is on Wednesday, if we win this game on Wednesday, we will go to states. That has never been done in Penwood history. So I challenge the community to come out and be supportive to the athletic events that are going on. When we travel to other schools, and this goes all along athletics and band, whatever events or other extracurricular sports that we have, we need more support. There's always parents. We just had a game against Central Bucks East, and you would not believe the crowd that they brought just alone because they have that support. Support goes a long way. It's not just about athletics, but even as the complaints and things that we hear, issues that we hear, it's going to take a village. We're no longer living. You cannot take this individually and just say, oh, I'm going to take my kid and move him here. Because if you want action to be done, you got to support the cause. So I challenge you and ask you to support the cause. Stand up. Thank you.
Tell us when the next game is. Where?
The next game is Wednesday. We'll be here at 7 o'clock at the Shoebox.
Be there.
Okay? I don't care how old you are. You bring anybody you want. If you need a cushion, we'll get you cushions. We need support. We need support.
And I have to say,
right here. Oh, we call it a shoebox because it's so tight. I know.
and as an avid Penwood supporter, I don't care if it's speech and debate, basketball, mock trial, high Q, baseball. I'm going to be there because it's good entertainment. I'm watching kids in communities that I like a lot, and it's a lot of fun. What these girls have done, watching Mo coach, is a good time.
And I have to say this about William Penn School District. I'm leaving, but I want you to know that when I see the people that work here, that surround our kids on a daily basis, and they talk about the arts and how important they are, and they are. We have a band supported by band parents that totally respect those children, and those kids know they're cared for. There's a football coach over here that takes his kids to volunteer in every community in William Penn School District. He takes those boys out. They respect him because he loves them. You look at every department at this high school surrounded, and that's why our students are doing better in school, because they can go to Tracy Boyle, the nurse, and get her time, and they respect her and she respects them. It takes everybody doing that. And when the kids know that they're cared for and someone respects them and has a listening an ear for them, they respond. Our children have responded in such a fashion, it's unbelievable. And it's not just the principal, it's everybody. Everybody, and that's why it's important to have the right people work in your school district.
Well,
and when
they
work
your
here,
expectations.
absolutely, and we are starting to see results just on that one thing alone. That's how important it is. And I'm thrilled to be part of that.
I agree with everything that's been said. If you go to private schools, you see that to get a seat, you have to get there very early because all of the parents are out. I do agree with that. However, I think there's something that all of you could do. We have in our district a NAG, and his name is Mr. Wright. He comes to every meeting. He talks about this I'm commending him for it. I mean, it sounds negative, but it really is very positive. I'm proud to see so many people out here tonight. Everybody should be doing that. I do think that we need to be nudged a little bit. Yeah, this has been a wonderful meeting. It's been very informative, and I think that we should have more nags on this board, so that you can really get.
We do. They see us coming and they go the other way.
Motion to adjourn. I'm sorry. Whoa. Next meeting.
Budget doc.
Oh, I'm sorry. The budget document that we forget it.
1 minute. So I gotta add my last thing. One of the things that...
Stand up.
Amy LaCourt, Lansdowne. I'm always talking. Do I have to stand up? No, listen, I really get concerned. I think there's a misnomer about our district being safe, too. I mean, I'm a product of Marple Newtown. All the wealth you could imagine. So my kid and me, we're in the halls. Our schools are safe. We have great security. The kids are good kids. Our schools are safe. Our communities are safe. There's neighborhood watch. There's people looking. There's parents. There's officials. So it's not a fear that we need to have, and I know that's another one that comes up a lot. I think we've allayed most of the fears. That's like the last big one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The budget document that Mr. Cave was holding up is on our website. Please take a look. It's really important that we educate ourselves as to what's going on. Thank you, Representative.
Thank you.
The next meetings will be Thursday, March 17th. In this room for the Education Committee, Monday the 14th for property, and March 28th for our next school board meeting. I'm giving Mr. Bruni the gavel. I don't take this lightly. Motion to adjourn? Moved. Second.